Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Verneda Adele, your anti-racist executive producer, the home for all those who are in the process of developing themselves, who want to produce events, who are emerging producers, seasoned producers, and you're ready to make the leap to striking on your own, either as an independent producer or to develop your own event production company. This is the space for you. So super excited. This is 2 weeks in the making. We have been having this starter conversation around event trade associations and what makes sense for us as producers, as business owners, those who are looking to move into this space. And I'm really, really excited to have this conversation today. So here's the thing. There are a number of benefits. There are some cons, and then mostly there are a lot of event associations. And so which one is the right one for you? How do you go about deciding? And does it make sense to join? If this is your first time in this space, on this channel, we are here for you, for all of our emerging event producers. I am personally an executive producer with over 20 years of experience in the event space, primarily in New York City, everything from large-scale nonprofit fundraising galas, award shows, product launches, social events, weddings, corporate, name all the things. We have done it. Fashion, shout out to New York Fashion Week. And so it has afforded me the opportunity to see a lot of different parts of the industry, to get a lot of insight. And there have been a couple of event trade associations that have particularly stuck out to me in my career and development. But then there are so many, many more. So we're going to tap in really quickly on what are some of the benefits of joining event trade associations. So number one, first and foremost, even if you are going to be an independent event producer, we never do this alone. We never do this alone. You do not build your business on your own. You do not develop events on your own. You do not create, execute, and recap on your own. We all need people. We need other producers to bounce ideas off us, to network with, to grow our businesses with, to have referrals. How many have known the process of developing a multiple six-figure business, all on word of mouth because of referrals? That is I. That is I. So none of that happened alone. I'm grateful. Thank you to all of my previous and current clients and network who have referred me time and time again. It absolutely has been a business that has been built off of word of mouth. And where did I get an opportunity to really hone in on networking with like-minded individuals who are also in the event space, who are also event professionals? It has been with event trade organizations. So that networking piece, the develop your community as event professionals, and event professionals does not just mean event producer. When you join event trade organization, it's going to afford you the opportunity to cross-pollinate in different industries. Some people really focus on events in the corporate space. Some are really in the nonprofit. Some are really focused on weddings. And then it's also suppliers. You start developing relationships with contractors and AV teams and AI specialists and caterers and vendors and those who are focused on seating, so that when you need to call on someone for your event, you have a pool of people that you've been connecting with, networking with, who you've had an opportunity to speak with, perhaps see their work, or you can easily reach out to and ask for their work. And it will go a long way in your relationships in the long run. And then point number 3 on the benefits of joining event trade organization is having the opportunity for new learnings. Like really good ones often have classes, workshops. They're bringing you the latest in event trends, technology. And so we get to continue to stay sharpened in our craft when we are engaged with event association and participate in some of those classes and workshops. Do not sleep on that. And that is separate, but not apart from some of the certifications that you can get through the trade association. Shout out to the CSEP. Shout out to ILEA. And that is a great segue, because the second point, it was like, well, who are these trade organizations. And if you're not familiar with them, tap in right now. So actually, there's so many. I actually went to ChatGPT today and was like, I know several off the top of my head. I'm familiar with, and the organization that I've been the most engaged with is the International Live Events Association, otherwise known as ILEA. ILEA is both an international organization and it has, like many trade organizations, regional or city chapters. So I have been a part of the New York Metro chapter of the International Live Events Association. Have had a chance to serve on committees in the organization and was a finalist for the 2024 Esprit Awards presented by the International Live Events Association for our company's work, Production by Human Intonation, our work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So in addition to ILEA, over the years, I've had the opportunity to become familiar with the National Society of Black Wedding and Event Professionals, also organizations like Meeting Planners International, MPI. There's also WIPA, which is around the wedding, but there is so much more. Okay, I'm just going to touch on a few. So I mentioned MPI, I mentioned ILEA. There is the Professional Convention Management Association. Now, just when you think about who or where do I belong, think about where is your primary focus in events. Now, some and don't also not to knock only if you're independent. This absolutely applies if you are also working full house if you're with an agency, if you're with an organization, with your corporation, and you're the lead on events in any of those spaces, all of these associations still apply. And what's great if you are on the corporate side or the nonprofit side, if you are in-house or with agency, oftentimes your organization will cover your membership fees for joining these organizations. Okay, so I'll just touch on a few. Some that I didn't realize existed. Society of Government Meeting Professionals, National Association for Catering and Events. There is so actually I have heard of this one, the Association of Destination Management Executives International. Shout out to all of the event producers that are focused on destination events. Absolutely. There is I mentioned National Society of Black Wedding and Event Professionals. There's also the Wedding International Professionals Association, otherwise known as WIPA, the Association of Wedding Professionals International, and then we get into some niche things, which are really cool. You have the Sustainable Event Alliance, otherwise known as SEA. And let's be honest, we all know that when it comes down to events, especially large scale events, we produce a lot of waste. And so that's going to be another topic for another day. But how do we lower our carbon footprint as event producers, event professionals, and leaders? But there's a whole organization, Sustainable Event Alliance, Global Business Association, the International Association of Exhibitors and Events. And of course, because this is an anti-racist space, we want to deep dive a little bit further into our ethnic specific event organizations. So there is a Black Event Professionals of America. With the Latinx community, there's a National Society for Hispanic Professionals, an International Association of Hispanic Meeting Professionals, the LGBT Meeting Professionals Association. I know I have several colleagues who are part of that organization. And then there are also gender-focused ones, Asian, Southeast Asian focused association. And for each of these, I am definitely in favor with connecting with more than one. There's no reason why you cannot join, network, cross-pollinate, go to events for different events and see what they have to offer. I'm particularly focused on the National Society of Black Wedding and Event Professionals, as well as ILEA. Those are the two organizations that I am most engaged with. And I really find it fruitful to have more than one organization because of the types of events I am often focused on. So that conventions one, if you are a convention professional, which conferences is a whole beast in and of itself, I imagine it may not have pulled up in the list, but there are organizations around music, music and large scale, not only conferences, but these experiential events that take us out to the desert or to California. We have so many different facets of events and to connect with those who are working with you, whether it's on the food and beverage side, the production side, on the talent side, tap in. The last thing we want to say about these is that joining professional associations as an event professional also gives us an opportunity around advocacy and visibility. I mentioned about being a finalist for the 2024 Esprit Award. What an amazing point of visibility. I've worked for years. I mean, I've been producing events for 20 years. Never occurred to me to go after an award or industry recognition. And the Spree Awards is basically the Grammys of the event industry. So even as a finalist, as a nominee, winner or nominee, that is such a high honor. I was deeply honored. I went out to Seattle for the ceremony, like the whole thing, and will always be known as a Spree Award nominee going forward. And that opens a lot of doors. So when you have an opportunity to connect, and of course, there's lots of others. I mean, we can also have a whole conversation around events media like BizBash and all of those platforms that also raise visibility. But the EMGR, oh, EMGR, it's not a trade association. That's going to be it. I'm gonna put a pin in that, and we're going to come back to EMGR. But there is this really special recognition that comes with being a part of trade associations, and if they have uh, awards, recognitions, certifications, tapping in those will raise your visibility in the industry along with the networking that you're doing. And then the last piece I will say about advocacy, we have a great deal of work to do in the event industry. I already mentioned the climate change piece and the sustainability piece. One of the areas that I'm most deeply passionate about, and a project that we started the conversation within ILEA, is how do we create a more equitable events industry, particularly when it comes to supplier opportunities. It is time for the event industry to dismantle the preferred vendor system. It is one of the entrenched practices that has historically and continues to block out opportunities for underrepresented business owners, businesses, suppliers, contractors within business. So when you go to a huge venue that has a preferred vendor list, and there are no companies of color owned by people of color on that list, when there's no companies owned by women on that list, those are de facto barriers to economic opportunity for amazing event professionals who simply are being denied the chance to even place a bid into some very lucrative work, billion-dollar industry worth of work, simply because of the color of their skin or the gender that they identify with. So there is so much more to come. We can do so much more when we are together. So particularly if you are independent or a small business owner as an event professional, tap in with trade organizations. Look at the ones that are local to your area. I'm in New York, but if you are in Houston or Seattle or LA, wherever you are in the country, there's guaranteed to be either something near you or one that you can connect with virtually so that you can continue to build your career from there. So tap in again next week. We will be back 6:30 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube at Verneda Adele. I am your anti-racist executive producer, producing events for over 20 years. We absolutely love this space, but more so, I love having the opportunity to connect with more of you. If you ever have questions, or if you want to reach out on building your career in the event space, or even you just have an inquiry around, hey, I'm working on this event and I'm not exactly sure where to go from here, tap in with me on IG at Verneda Adele, on LinkedIn at Verneda Adele White, and we'll be happy to connect. All right, we will see you all next week. Continue to tap in and let the world know how you'll use